High Heaven #1 from brand new comic publisher called Ahoy Comics. They actually had their debut comic 2 weeks ago with a book called The Wrong Earth. That was really good. Check out my review on that. But this is their second book in their new line of books, and this one is called High Heaven. It is written by Tom Peyer and art by Greg Scott. And this book was really, really good. I loved it. Okay, so it's about this guy, David, and he's on Earth, and he's kind of a complainer, kind of a loser. He tries to ask out this girl, she rejects him, and then a piano lands on him, and he dies. And now he is in heaven, and the afterlife is not everything he thought it would be. It's actually kind of dreary and bureaucratic, and he's kind of complaining about it. And some of the funny things in heaven, so there's long lines to get in. St. Peter at the pearly gates is kind of a dick. They give him his halo, and his halo is not the typical thing above his head. It's basically like a key card that he can use to sort of enter doors and whatnot. Later on in the book, he's watching TV in his home, and he goes to masturbate, and all of a sudden he reaches down, and he's basically a Ken doll down there. He has no penis. Because you're in heaven, you don't need to go to the bathroom anymore. So I thought that was another funny touch. They tell him that they're going to bring him to his mansion, and then his host kind of takes him to what is basically the equivalent of a dorm room, and he's like, mansion? This is a dorm room. And she's like, oh yes, yes, yes. That's what you guys call it on Earth, but here in heaven we call this a mansion. So yeah, lots of humor in this, lots of satire. It all takes place kind of like in heaven, in the afterlife, and it kind of makes the afterlife not really sound that good. So yeah, this is a really funny book. It reminded me a lot of the movie called Defending Your Life by Albert Brooks, where, you know, he was on trial for his life and to see if he could get into heaven. That was a great movie. This book reminds me a lot of that. I would give this first issue an 8.5 out of 10. It is great. The art is only okay, but the story, it was so unique, and I thought it was awesome. Now, this Ahoy Comics line, all of their books, they're kind of like trying to make it a magazine format. So they have a short prose story from Grant Morrison, which Grant Morrison's prose doesn't exactly entice me that much. I tried to read the story. I was getting really bored from it. There's also a other cartoon, like 3-4 page story called #Danger. And that was like very little kiddish, and I didn't like that either. I don't think this Ahoy Comics really has to do these long magazine formats with all of this supplemental material. Really, all I want is the main issue. But the main issue in this was great, and I recommend it to all.